I've had a moment with a deaf girl at a gym. I knew she was doing a marathon, so I saw her again. I was like, hey, how'd you get on the marathon? And she went, very difficult. And I said, oh, why was it very difficult? She went, 36 double Ds. So what is the final brilliant thing?
My final brilliant thing, and I've brought them, but only because I bring them everywhere, is my hearing aids.
Okay.
I am wearing.
See, they are
2 hearing aids.
the hearing aids that my dad should wear.
Yeah.
But my dad is just weirdly vain, so won't wear them. And clearly they change your life.
They are.
But my dad won't.
They're invisible.
Yeah,
Well,
they are.
I mean,
Look at
they're
them.
not actually invisible. And
No,
but
but
I'm not vain about
compared to
them
compared to how hearing aids used to be,
Yeah.
you would have no idea that you were wearing them.
which is almost, it's become a slight problem with them. So, because I now, I don't have headphones anymore for anything. So if I listen to a podcast, I just wire it straight into my hearing aids, which is better than headphones because the hearing aids are tuned to which bit of the sound spectrum I'm missing most. So it heightens that more than other things.
Right.
So this is much clearer than any headphone could ever be. But that means I don't have the visual grammar of man listening to podcast.
Right.
So I'll be at the gym wearing these. And if I was wearing headphones that you could see were headphones and somebody wanted to talk to me, there'd be that kind of, excuse me, bit. I don't have that bit because no one thinks I'm wearing anything.
Yeah, right.
And people just talk to me and I have to keep going, sorry, what? Sorry? And taking them out.
Yeah, and then that makes them feel awkward because
yeah.
oh, fuck, he's deaf.
Yeah,
Jesus,
now
sorry,
they've
nothing.
abused-
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. They are transformational. I would urge your dad to get them.
Yeah, but my dad's got them. He has a weird thing about it, and he had a lady come round and fix them into his ears properly. They're the real deal. I think he just doesn't like listening to his family.
I think
that might be it. That he's like, I'd rather be deaf than listen to her, him, you, and that.
I think when I choose them as my fantastic thing, what I'm really choosing is the lack of vanity and the acceptance of help.
Yeah.
Which I think not enough people do.
And the joy of hearing things.
Yeah. So I it's the higher end of the register, which is what happens to most people. It's the higher end of things that starts to go. At the start of lockdown, I had a hearing test because I was aware it was going. And this guy tested me, and at the end of the thing, he went, "Have you ever worked in heavy industry?" I was like, No, I haven't. He said, "Okay," and he signed these things. So, you don't need them yet, but you might want to consider getting hearing aids at some point. What you've got is sort of very common for people normally older than you, but who've worked in heavy industry. You're quite young for it to happen, but it's it's sort of not untypical in people in their late 50s. And I went, right, so I've sort of got the hearing of someone in their late 50s. Oh, no, I'm 60 and my hearing's much better than yours. I was like, oh, God, okay. But I sort of made a note, and I went back a couple of years later and was persuaded that I should do it. And I was just like, I'm just going to go and do it. I can't be arsed with this. This is ridiculous. And immediately my wife got 50% funnier. Like that thing of hearing it the first time, of not saying pardon.
Yeah.
So like our relationship just improved, like immediately, because you don't realise what a drain you're being on all the people around you who are having to say it twice and not having their joke understood the first time. Because, and what was that? And you say the funny thing again, it's not as funny, is it? And humour's how all relationships sort of work around a need and whatever. So that was all sort of damaged, and I hadn't really appreciated how much that was damaged, but she was feeling that.
Yeah.
And there are people in my own life now, you go, just get a mobility scooter.
Yes.
Like you'll be better. You'll enjoy more of life. Just do it. Stop being vain. It hadn't even occurred to me that vanity was holding people back.
Yeah.
I think maybe because as a stand-up you are used to exploiting your flaws and just being honest about them, because I think most people aren't going to tell everyone they stand up to wipe their arse. but you will do it on a podcast because years of doing stand-up has left you immune to the idea that that's somehow a failing. It's just something to share because, other people will find it funny and it doesn't matter.
Yeah. But I also wonder if it is a generational thing that certainly someone my dad's age, that it's like, well, I don't need a hearing aid. I'm just going to slowly not hear everybody and then die. But do you know what I mean? It's kind of that they're locked away.
There's a thing that happens also. So I got in quite early. It wasn't so bad. I could get through most social situations. It wasn't an issue.
Yeah.
I can feel the difference now. It makes a difference, but it wasn't so bad. But actually, that's the best time to do it because the bits of your brain that take in those signals, if those signals stop arriving, that bit of the brain eventually goes, I'll turn off then.
Yeah.
I'm obviously not needed.
Yeah.
And then if you try to address it years later, you can't wake up that receptor.
It's a big
I'm not
part...
a scientist. This is not very well explained.
No, but it's a big part of longevity. It's that thing of like you can, one of the dual things roughly, it comes down to exercise and having friends and having conversations.
Yeah.
If that part of you is locked away, you, like you say, it just shuts down.
It stops working and you can address it. And now those bits of my brain are alive and awake and listening. And so I will be able to maintain that longer.
Can I ask one question on the...
Of course you can.
Younger people who are younger than us, they tend to watch television now with the subtitles on de rigueur, no matter what their hearing is. Do you find that offensive and cultural appropriation?
I don't find it cultural appropriation.
Do you find it offensive?
I don't find it appropriation in any way, shape or form. I find
Big up yourself.
I find it batshit.
Yeah.
Like, why would you
I
do
don't know.
that to yourself?
Well, like you say, but there is something interesting
At least they're reading.
Yeah, but sometimes it's quite nice to see you get the nuance. So if you watch something I'll regularly watch like Mad Men or West Wing just to go to bed. We don't do that anymore because we've got a kid. But we would watch it with the subtitles on.
Yeah.
And you do get a different part of the script from it.
But that's something that you have seen before.
Sure.
And I think a part of your brain is recreating the soundscape with the words in front of you. If you're watching it cold the first time, I'm not sure you're getting the same experience out of that.
Agreed. Yeah. My favourite moment, I've had a moment with a deaf girl at a gym, and she was Russian, and I still sort of see her regularly at the gym, and she was so loud. She spoke so loudly, it was a brilliant Russian accent, and was just very kind of like just chatty. And I was just like jogging away, and she saw me, and she just went, "Your clothes, you look like baby," like that. And I just kind of, okay, like that. It was, and and I was like, "Oh right, yeah." And it was all like misshaped colours and whatnot. So we sort of became like gym mates.
Yeah.
And I remember, so I would speak in my voice, and she would bellow back at me. And I had kind of one of the most awkward moments ever, where nobody had heard the conversation that I'd had, all they were hearing were her answers. And I knew she was doing a marathon, so I saw her again. I was like, "Hey, how'd you get on the marathon?" And she went, "Very difficult." And I said, "Why was it very difficult?" She went, 36 double Ds. So it just looked like I kind of almost like having them, don't I? Like it was awful, and everyone's looking at me as that bloke off the telly going, "You pig." But she was wonderful. She was so funny and just so loud. She was an ace, man.
I like that.
But again, had no very. She was sort of saying, I'm deaf. It's sort of. People go two ways, I guess, that you can't, and it's just that frustrating thing for me and my dad. You're like, just put them on, you fucking lunatic.
Yeah.
Because you're missing out.
His life will be better.
Of course. And his dad's deaf, and clearly it's interesting hearing you say that, because I'm already kind of like a sideways guy.
Yeah.
Even at gigs.
Yeah.
What was that? That it's just faintly out of reach, but I will have absolutely no problem.